Hey guys, Scare9 here, welcome back to my channel today, and in this video we're going to be breaking down Bungie's stream that they just did today, showing us Armor 2.0 going into the Shadowkeep expansion. If you guys don't know, our entire armor system is getting a huge revamp. They are essentially getting rid of random rolls and that sort of thing. For the most part, there's kind of stipulations there, but we're going to be able to completely design our armor from the ground up whenever we get it to drop, which is very exciting. So in this video, I'm going to break down 5 super important points that you guys should take away from the stream if you missed it or that sort of thing. We're going to be starting each one just talking about the specifics, the facts, what we know, that sort of thing. And then at each point, I do want to start a conversation with you guys and kind of give my feedback to Bungie as well as see what you guys think as well. So let's just go ahead, jump into this, but make sure to share all of your opinions down in the comment section below. Let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing that you guys should learn is that intellect, strength, and discipline, 3 of these kind of buffs or different mechanics or stats from Destiny 1 are now returning into Destiny 2. If you guys don't know, these are sort of like mobility, things like resilience, things like recovery, these sort of statistics. They are also tied to armor and that sort of thing. However, instead of affecting things like how fast you get health back or how fast you move or things like that, they actually directly affect your gameplay. So intellect is a measure of how quickly you get your super back, strength is a measure of how quickly you get your melee charge back, and discipline is a measure of how quickly you get your grenade back. Now, these are being added in addition to the 3 that we already have. Once again, recovery, resilience, and mobility. So we're going to have 6 stats on each piece of armor minus the class item, it looks like, and we're going to be able to kind of customize our Guardians builds even more. Now, instead of going from 0 to 10, they're actually kind of buffing out and fleshing out the system. So they now go from 0 to 100 with tiers every 10 points. So there's tier 1 at 10 points, tier 2 at 20 points, tier 3 at 30 points, and so on. And every time you hit an increment of 10 points, you get an additional cooldown buff. So like you'll get your grenade faster, or if your mobility goes from 10 to 20, you'll now move faster and jump faster and that sort of thing. So instead of going from 1 to 10, the points now go from 0 to 100 with tiers every 10 points for increases or buffs or just better statistics in general. So how do you get more of these points? So this is kind of the only random roll aspect, it seems like, from this point going forward once 2.0 launches. Essentially, when a piece of armor drops, you will have X amount for all 6 of these stats. So let's say a piece of armor drops, you have 10 intellect, 20 strength, 5 discipline, etc., etc. And it goes all the way down this list. You might have 0, you might have a ton. Then as you upgrade the armor, which we'll talk about in the next point, you'll actually increase these values and earn a little bit more. So you can kind of max out your different statistics and just make a bunch of different builds based around things like grenades or your melee charge or your super or things like that. And then there's also mods you can run to increase these values on each of your armor pieces as well, which is really cool. And I just want to say, like, I very much enjoy this system. I think it's going to be a fantastic addition. One thing I was kind of worried about is Destiny leaning too hard into the RPG element. I really enjoy being able to customize my character's armor and really build into that aspect of Destiny. However, I find whenever there are too many statistics, I start to get overwhelmed and then I just do not care anymore. I just go for fashion and that is it. I will say that these 6 all matter a lot. They're not overwhelming. There's nothing that kind of doesn't matter and I'm just not going to use. I'm definitely going to try to make the best balance for my playstyles and that sort of thing. I think this was a great addition to the game. And my favorite thing is that if you hover over the tooltip, it shows you exactly how much your cooldown is. It'll say like 16% less or something like that. Bungie is giving us specific numbers, they're not being vague about it, and that is a huge improvement over past systems, and I cannot wait for these things to be added into the game. Now, the number 2 thing that you should learn from today's stream is how the new armor leveling system works. So essentially, masterworks are gone now. You still can upgrade your armor though from level 0 to level 10. So every time you do this, you have to spend a couple materials. It's pretty much like masterworking a piece of armor now, where you go from 0 to 5, you spend glimmer, you spend masterwork shards. There's a couple new types of materials as well. I think ascendant shards was something that was mentioned. There's essentially going to be all these different types of items that you can use to upgrade from level 0 to level 10. And like I mentioned before, as you go up these levels, you will add additional things to your stats, like your intellect, your discipline, your mobility, your recovery, etc. This is just essentially the new masterworking system, But what is super important is every time you level up your armor, your specific armor piece, you unlock an additional point to spend on mods. And mods is how you are going to be building your armor from now on. There are no longer random rolls that drop on your armor. You won't get your enhanced sniper rifle aim from playing Crucible. It won't drop on that piece of armor. You will get a Crucible helmet, and you will have the ability to upgrade this to whatever tier and install mods using those points. So how does this work? You can upgrade it to level 10. Like I said, for every tier you get 1 point, and then you have these points to spend on mods to customize your armor. So for instance, if you do want that enhanced sniper rifle aim, you need to spend 4 points of your 10 levels. So you can essentially put that on there, and then you have 6 more points to spend on different things. Then you have things like minor resistance, which gives you, of course, damage resistance bonuses against things like minor enemies. That seems to cost a point in the current build of the game. So they really give you a ton of variability and customization options and that sort of thing. You have a point system based on how much stuff you pump into that armor set, and then through that leveling system, you can spend these points to equip different variations of mods. And it is worth noting, once you unlock a mod, you no longer have to. So if I unlock the enhanced sniper rifle aim, but I decide I want to use a shotgun, I can switch over to the shotgun one, and then I can switch back over to the sniper rifle one free of charge, which is very, very cool. This is a huge improvement on the armor system. There's definitely going to be kind of like a push to make one armor set for all PvE activities, all PvP activities, that sort of thing. That's what I've always sort of done, but when you add things like callus mods, and then you have things like the taken armaments and that sort of thing, it makes it really difficult to only use one armor set. So I think this will be kind of empowering in terms of us being able to make one master armor set to do all raids with, and one master armor set for us to do strikes with for, certain builds or however you like to play. This is a huge improvement. We get to customize our armor however we want. It's very cool. And this, once again, is something I'm very excited to get my hands on. Now, keep in mind, you won't have all the mods right off the bat. You do have to unlock them. They said they drop from open world sources like engrams. You can buy them directly from Banshee. They come from Banshee rank up packages, that sort of thing. Yeah. That is pretty exciting. I'm very excited to get acquainted with this system and just experiment with different things. And yeah, that's going to be point number 2. Point number 3 is that every single armor set gets an Armor 2.0 version. But there's a couple of stipulations for this. So the one armor set you are given automatically right off the bat, your Solstice armor set. You go to Banshee, you get an upgraded version of your armor set 2.0 where you can equip mods and that sort of thing. You get to keep your glows. You can transmog it for all the Eververse ornaments and that sort of thing. This is the only set you are given automatically. In addition to this, you can reacquire any piece of exotic gear from your collections, and it will have a 2.0 version of it ready as well. So if you really like using the Raiden Flux like I do, go print one out. You will be able to spec it with mods and design it however you want. However, if you want a 2.0 armor set of literally any other legendary set in the game, you have to go and earn it. If you want a Prestige Leviathan set from back vanilla Destiny 1, you want it in Armor 2.0, you're gonna have to go run Prestige Leviathan again, get all the pieces to drop, and then spec it out that way. You cannot reacquire these armor sets from collections. The only things that you can reacquire from collections that will have these new 2.0 mod slots are going to be exotics. And then once again, you get your Solstice set directly from Banshee. But every single armor set you could think of that is in the game that you have, you can currently earn has a 2.0 version. Now, they did mention that Trials and Faction armors, these are not yet available because, obviously Trials is not in the game. Faction rallies are taking a hiatus. So you can't get these armor sets, but if you want like the year 1, season 1 Crucible armor set, you will have ways to earn that. You will be able to get a 2.0 version of that and that sort of thing, which is very exciting. And now with the 4th and 5th points, we're kind of stepping away from the new armor system just to kind of hit on really cool things that they said in the stream. So the 4th one is that Weapons of Light is back on Ward of Dawn by default. So everyone in Destiny 2 kind of thinks that Ward of Dawn Titan Bubble is kind of a joke. It's not really worth anything, in my opinion, currently. It gives you Armor of Light, but that really doesn't do anything in things like raid scenarios and that sort of thing. However, with the Shadowkeep update, they're automatically putting the Weapons of Light perk back on it from Destiny 1, which if you guys didn't play Destiny 1, essentially gives you a huge weapon damage bonus whenever you use it. It is very, very useful. It's essentially kind of like a well of radiance, but, you know, a Titan bubble instead. And you kind of have to move in and out of the bubble in order to maintain this buff. It looks like it is going to be around a 35% damage buff that lasts for around 15 seconds. A bunch of people did math on Reddit, and it seems like that is going to be the buff in the duration. But of course, whenever you are kind of going towards the end of that buff, just dip back in the bubble, come back out, and you will automatically have that refreshed. But it's going to be back. I will say, I don't want to get too excited about this yet. I think it'll be an interesting mechanic to add to the game. But if they're adding this, it does mean that inevitably there is going to be some type of nerf to things like Well of Radiance, to things like Hammer Strike, to things like Tractor Cannon, and these sorts of things. They're not going to add an additional buff into the game if we already are as powerful as we are. You know, it's pretty easy to one-phase every single boss in the game at this point. So there's a reason they're adding this back into the game. There's going to be a heavy-handed nerf round coming very soon. I feel like, you know, that's obviously not confirmed, but it does seem to be leaning towards that direction. So keep that in mind. Get excited for Weapons of Light, but do keep in mind it's going to drastically change everyone's playstyle, because if it is coming, a lot of things are getting nerfed. Yeah, so going on to number 5, this is just going to be a couple of random tips. The Glimmer Cap is going from 100,000 to 250,000, which is very, very nice. You can always now see the Sparrow and the Ghost right behind your character in the main inventory screen, so you don't have to scroll down and that sort of stuff. You can see how all of your aesthetics kind of flow together, which is very, very nice. Ammo that drops due to an ammo finder perk on the ground will now glow brighter, so you know if your perks are working or not, so that's pretty cool. And then finally, in your character kind of name above your head, so it has your gamer tag, instead of displaying your level, it will now display your class logo, which is really cool because, you know, pretty much everyone is 40 at this point. It really doesn't matter what level you are anyways. Your light level matters a hell ton more than that, but they're now putting your class above your head so you can automatically look around, see what everyone is. You don't have to ask everyone. And yeah. So that is all 5 of the super important things that you should have learned from today's stream. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating and share it with your friends. Once again, make sure to leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. I will, of course, have the entire Bungie stream linked down in the description. If you're interested in watching the entirety of it, I highly recommend that you do. But if you don't, we definitely hit on all the high points here. If you are interested in watching either of the 2 videos on screen, you can click at their respective annotation to be taking them. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure the giant version of my logo on screen to be subscribed to my awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I'll see you in my next video.